Welcome back to the Innovator, the Imitator, and the Idiot. I am Kyle Wong with Moxie, Colorado.
I'm Corey Martin with Bank of England Mortgage here in Denver, Colorado.
As you can tell, we have a slightly different setup today. I'm recording not in the usual spot, and we are also doing this via Zoom. So
Yeah,
bear with us if there's any audio or video issues. We'll try to keep it together here. But today we are talking about mountain living. So what does that look like to live in a mountain town? What does it look like when you're in Colorado and you go and visit? What are some hot spots? What are some highlights? Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. Actually, this has been a topic I've wanted to talk about for a long time, just because I feel like that is kind of a quintessential part of Colorado living, wouldn't you say?
yeah. I'll be honest with you. When I first, realized that we were moving to Colorado, I thought the state was one big old mountain. It was just like a square mountain.
Mm.
Almost like a pyramid, if you will, like a perfect natural pyramid. And the top of the mountain was equidistant from all sides of the state.
Mm.
Because it's the box state. And so, yeah, obviously, mountains are synonymous with Colorado, though, right? You've got John Denver, Rocky Mountain High. You've got um, Trev Rich, local rapper,
Yes. Oh my
who
gosh.
also
Yes.
who also talks about the box state, about Colorado. But yeah, that's it. When you think about Colorado, I don't know that you think. I think the first thing most people from outside of Colorado think of is snow, and that goes snow on top of a
Yeah,
mountain. So that's
it's
it.
true. Um, I just think it's cool because it's one of those things that is really awesome for locals. So for people like you and me who live in the greater Denver metro area for the most part, um,
Yep.
and so let me just lay it out for you really quick. If it were like on a map, so you have Denver, and then south of that by about an hour and a half is Colorado Springs. And Denver's pretty central to the state, but over west you have what is it called? You have the mountains, right? And there's like a big mountain range that goes all the way through the entire state. And the reason why it's
Hi.
cool is because from pretty much Wyoming, so from Fort Collins, which is north of Denver by like an hour and a half, all the way down to Pueblo, which is south of Colorado Springs, you have a view of the mountains if you just look west, right? And that's awesome.
Dog.
What?
It's the Rocky Mountains.
It is the Rocky Mountain. No, I was trying to think. No, I know that. I
Oh,
was
I'm
trying to
sorry.
think
I'm
of
sorry. I
like
was like,
when they call it, because you're like either on the eastern slope or the western slope. Anyways, so
yeah,
that's
the front
Denver.
range. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
The
Yeah,
front
yeah.
range.
So
That's what it is. That's what it is.
I'm sorry. Yep, that's it. So you have Denver that's on the front range,
Yeah.
and there is, the Rocky Mountains. I'm sorry, man. I'm messing with you. So the
Just
Rocky
give me a
Mountains
hard
stretch
time,
from.
man.
I know. Like, well, actually, in geography class, I learned, but no. So they are the Rocky Mountains. Just a little bit of background about them. They are the largest mountain range in North America, stretching all the way from actually Montana, all the way down through southern Colorado. And kind of piggybacking off of what Kyle said was that Denver is almost equidistant to Denver is in the central part of the state, and it is almost equidistant to all four corners of the state. Denver's on the front range, and so from Denver east, you have, I guess east of Denver, maybe Aurora, 30 minutes east of Denver, it's pretty much plains, and the
Yeah.
joke that we always say is that, if you take the lines or take the signs out, you don't really know too much of a difference between eastern Colorado, Kansas, and Nebraska.
No, it's so
They're
true. Because
almost the same state.
yeah, anytime you drive, let's say you're driving from Denver, you drive out east, it all looks the same. It's super boring. But if you say, hey, I'm driving to Nevada or I'm driving to California, it's a really pretty drive because you take I-70 is the main central interstate going east to west, and it's so
Yep.
pretty out through the mountains. But out the other way, it's not so pretty. So yeah, that's what's cool is because you have the mountain range. So if you live along the front range, which most people do, well, I don't know if it's right to say most people do. A lot of people do. That's where Denver, that's where Colorado
Most of
Springs,
this,
that's where,
yeah.
yeah, that's where the common, bigger towns are. So if you pretty much head west at any point, you're going to the mountains, right? So like I said, from Denver, you head directly west, and that's what I-70 will take you to. A lot of the I don't want to say pass through town because I don't think there's any such thing as an unimportant, just pass through, use the bathroom, but it'll take you through Idaho Springs, which is really cool because they've got the Argo mine there. And what you'll learn about Colorado is that it's the the geology is super cool because a lot of mining has been done in Colorado. So gold, silver, and various other things. So you'll pass through there. I actually did the Argo mine tour not too long ago. There's a video on the channel. Check it out. And you'll pass through there, and then you'll end up in Silverthorne and Frisco, which is really cool because I think that's one of those little towns. It's not super little. It's very pretty, and that's kind of how you're in the mountains because you kind of break out of a valley and it opens up, and there's a big old dam to your left. So that would be south. And it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And they've got everything. So like tubing during the winter, mountain biking during the summer. It's really fun. And it's kind of like your entry level mountain town, right? Like you don't have to be a hardcore
Right.
skier, like, trudging through 6 feet of snow. Like you can go there and have a good time any time of year. So
Yeah. This actually, Silverthorne was the first mountain town that I went to, that I visited when I moved to Colorado from Louisiana. So it really truly is like your perfect entry level, your starter mountain town. And there's no disrespect to the folks in Silverthorne,
yeah.
Frisco, or that Dillon area. I think that's kind of one of the attractions to folks that live there. I actually, my principal in high school lived there, lived in Silverthorne, and drove down to Littleton, Colorado every
Ooh.
morning.
Hey
And he
man.
would beat us
Ooh.
to the school. Like he was there at 6 o'clock when we're getting there to, like, start working out for football. He's there in the gym. He's already got a sweat going.
Yeah, he's that typical Colorado guy that's driving 95 with one hand down I-70, and he's just like, "What are you guys talking about? Like, I didn't know it snowed." That's
In
so
his
funny, man.
Subaru with his cup of coffee, and, like, it's literally a cup of coffee, right? And he not a drop has been spilled.
The little
And
sticker that
he's
says
just
the
whipping,
mountains are calling and I must go.
right? And he's just whipping that thing, man, just
Oh,
whipping
that's
it.
so
So
funny.
Silverthorne really is a great town.
Yeah.
I want to say, am I overstepping here? Is Bojo's? Is that the home of Bojo's Pizza?
That is in Idaho Springs. So it's probably, I don't know,
Oh,
like what is that, a 45-minute drive? It's not super far. But yeah, Bojo's, if you guys don't know, let's go, is is probably the most famous, one of the most famous restaurants in Colorado, but it's a pizza joint, right? And I don't want to say that's all that it is, but that is all that it is. It's Colorado style pizza. And if I had to relate it to anything, it's like Chicago deep dish, but that's it. I don't know. You
it's
just
a
you
mountain pie.
yeah, you have it
It's a
after skiing,
mountain
man.
pie.
Like it's just kind of
Yeah,
tradition if you can ever get in. But it's good.
right.
It's very famous. I think
It's
they've got a
really, really
couple
good.
locations now, but anyways, Bojo's a cool spot. Definitely hit it up on your drive to the mountains. And then after that, I
Absolutely.
guess we'll just go geographically. So as you head further west, right? Let's just say you flew into DIA, you're staying up in Denver, and you're like, hey, I want to check out the mountains. You went through Idaho Springs, you went through Georgetown, right? You went through Silverthorne. Now you're heading over. And then once you get into the Frisco area, you can take a little road south. I don't remember what the road is now that I'm talking about it, but you can head to a little town called Breckenridge, which that might spark something in you because Breckenridge is a super famous town, um, because of how classically mountain townish it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it. Everybody in Colorado knows what Breckenridge is, and it's actually a pretty small town. Once you drive down, it's almost like you're kind of tucked in a little valley. And
Yep.
it's a really cute town, really amazing stores, really good art scene, which I think is super cool. But fun fact, it was actually, that movie Dumb and Dumber. A lot of that was
Yeah.
filmed there. Everybody says it was in Aspen. There are portions filmed in Aspen, but mostly it was actually Breckenridge. Um,
Yeah.
but the other thing is that I wanted to mention is that it's kind of tough. So, for example, if you are looking to buy there, a lot of people are like, yeah, like I want my mountain town house and like my little cabin in the woods. Breckenridge is one of the more strict, actually probably one of the most strict in the country when it comes to short-term rentals. And I don't know the exact details, but it's kind of broken up into 4 sections based off zoning. And you actually have to have a permit if you're going to do short-term rentals. And short-term rental is defined as anything under 30 days, which is all Airbnbs, VRBOs, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's really tough because what happened was, I mean, you know this, right? So it was an old mining town. It was not known for the affluent, wealthy people with the beautiful views that it is now, which it is very much so affluent and beautiful now. But it was not always that way. And next thing you know, just like New York with the art district, the art scene, a lot of wealthier people moved in and kind of pushed out the working class. And so next thing you know, you have a lot of working class who don't live there full time, and nobody that works there can afford to live there. Right. And obviously there's
Yeah.
kind of a disparagement there. There's a little gap, and
Yeah.
it caused a problem. So that's why they're implementing things like that. Whether that's helpful or not, we'll see. But just
Yeah.
wanted to mention that.
Breckenridge is such a cool town because it really is your quintessential Colorado mountain town. Like it is, growing up, we always thought of it as like, you know, Breckenridge is Vail and Aspen for middle class families, right? It
Yeah.
was, it was this place to go to where, you didn't necessarily have to have designer clothes, and not that you have to have designer clothes to exist in Vail or Aspen, but
Kind of feels that
Breckenridge
way
was just
sometimes
kind of
though.
certainly right. I remember that with as far as Breckenridge goes, there were fewer luxury stores on Main Street than there were in Vail or Aspen, and so it just felt very approachable, very middle class, and
Yeah.
what I loved about it was the people. You get to Vail, or I'm sorry, you get to Breckenridge, and the first thing you notice is the pace is different. I spent so much of my adult life living in downtown Denver. And, it's downtown Denver, right? I'm on and off the highway that quickly, super fast.
Yeah.
You got the concrete jungle. I've got these huge skyscrapers all around me. And you take the drive into Breckenridge, and first off, it's a super peaceful drive, but you get into Breckenridge and you just immediately notice like, hey man, it's all good.
Yeah.
You're chill.
It's you're
You're chill.
you yeah, you said it right the first time. Like it's so much of a slower pace than what you kind of expect being up there. And it matches the drive very well because it's pretty and it's just slow and it's relaxing. And like you said, it's very approachable, which is nice. Because as we'll get into the other towns later, they can feel a little more like, all right, let's go. Like it's just kind of a different vibe, if you will.
Yeah, yes. Other towns you have to feel like you got to put on, right? And with
Yeah.
Breckenridge, it's definitely a come as you are vibe. And I really appreciate, in my experience, the locals there in Breckenridge, the people that do stay there full time. Some of the best experiences or best times that I've had have been with people that are part of the kitchen staff.
Yeah,
Part of
absolutely.
the resort staff, because they are, they much like other, touristy destinations, they're part of everything that makes this thing go. And so they've just got this real down to earth vibe to you.
Down to
They want you to
earth.
have a good,
Yeah.
yeah, right. They want you to have a good time. But hey, don't mess this thing up. Pick up your trash, right? Don't
Yeah.
disrespect the land, don't disrespect the area, the space. But if you don't do that, you are welcome to have a great time, and that's what sticks out in my mind about Breckenridge.
Yeah. I'd 100% agree with everything you just said. It's don't get me wrong, it's an expensive place. And that's the other thing is like it we're not saying it's cheap by any means, and it's not like, it's not as expensive as Aspen. I can totally live there. For those without the reference, it's a mountain town. And anytime, first of all, Colorado is an expensive place to live, I think by all measures. But mountain towns in particular, man, you pay a premium because once you go up there and you experience it, even if you see pictures, you'll realize how beautiful it is, and it kind of captures you a little bit. And so you're like, yeah, I would like to have a place up here. So, plus just geographically, the way it's laid out, the space is limited, right? Like in Denver, you can expand out east as far as you want, but you can't do that in places like Breckenridge. So it's definitely expensive. It just doesn't. I think more so it doesn't feel quite as, I don't want to say pretentious, but it doesn't feel so, you know, uptight, if you will, as the other towns. But
Yeah.
anyways, we'll get into that because no, go ahead.
Well, I was just wanted to say one more other item that makes it a little more expensive too, though, is the resources, right, and the availability of said resources. It is a lot easier to drive an 18-wheeler to, Lincoln, Nebraska, than it
Oh
is to
yeah,
drive an 18-wheeler to, to Breckenridge, right?
right.
The skill set that it takes to get said 18-wheeler to to Lincoln versus to Breckenridge, all of those things, the cost of goods are greater in these mountain towns because it's harder to get stuff to them.
Right. Yeah. And you're paying a premium for it. Same with flights. There's not, I don't want to say there's not major airports, but there's no international airports up in the mountains, like you're taking
Right.
usually private flights and private charters and stuff like that. So yeah, Breckenridge is a cool spot. Would highly recommend. Really good food for whatever reason. It just tastes different up there. I'll just say that. But let's just say you go back north, you hop back on I-70, then you'll pass through Avon, Beaver Creek, the Vale area, and that's a cool spot, I think. And everybody's got their own opinions on it. This one's interesting because it's not like you drive out and you're in, your own little area. It's kind of just like it's a little unassuming. You drive through, you see some really pretty town, and you're like, oh man, that looks nice. That's Vale. Like as soon as you saw it, you pass two more exits and you're gone.
Yep.
So it's cool because everybody likes to split it up between, oh no, is it Vale or Vale Village? And it's like, all right, settle down. But they're
Yeah.
equally beautiful aesthetically. They're just a cute little kind of almost looks like the Swiss chalet style
I
of
believe it was
buildings.
designed after one.
Oh, was it? Well,
After
that
that,
would make
I
sense.
believe. Yeah, yeah, I think so. You do really feel like you're in the Swiss Alps up there.
Yeah, and it really does. And you're right at the base of the mountain when you're in Vale. I mean, you're at the base of most mountains when you're in the mountain towns, but you can literally walk from your restaurant up to like the ski slope. That's how close you are.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just a cute little town, man. Again, super expensive. You're not going to find a ton of single family homes just based off the layout. Um, you're really going to see a lot of those bigger developments like condos and stuff, right? So right at the base, don't even ask me how expensive they are, man, because like even the HOA, I saw one was like $5,000, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, a month? That's crazy. Um, but Vale is super cool. Vale is super fun, especially if you've got events or something going on, or if you just kind of want to like walk around and shop, because it's
Yeah,
so tight, right? You can walk just about anywhere in Vale.
absolutely. I mean, so the thing with towns like Vale and oh, I'm so sorry. There was one thing that I wanted to look up. Yep.
I've got
So
mine
the
pulled
thing
up
with
too.
towns, yeah. So the thing with about towns like Vale is that, and even Aspen. Well, I know we'll get to Aspen, but they have some of the coolest events.
Yes.
Because of um, the crowd that it attracts. Right? These are folks that do want to have a good time. They enjoy their leisure. They're there to have a good time because they work so hard. Obviously, you must work really hard to be able to afford some of these things, right? And so when
Right.
if you're paying $5,000 a month for your HOA, then when you take your family to, go ski in the mountains, you want to be able to go and enjoy a nice meal or be entertained and do
Yep.
other things there too. And so you'll find really, really cool concerts. You'll find really, really cool events, really, really cool restaurants.
Oktoberfest.
Uh, Oktoberfest is so much fun, right?
Yeah.
Jazz Fest in Winter Park is one of the coolest.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I went to I was staying up in Winter Park with a girlfriend, and I looked outside, and Kyle, it was more black people in Winter Park than it was in Montbello, and I'm like, hold up, bro, what
Oh
happened?
my gosh.
What happened? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
where am I?
And
Am
it
I in the
turns out,
Twilight Zone?
straight up, right? Straight up, what happened? And it turns out it was not a Rough Riders concert. It was an Alex Toussaint concert. So Winter Park Jazz Fest is actually
Oh,
one of the coolest events that you can go to. Some of the best food, some of the best people. It's super eclectic. Just a melting pot of personalities, of cultures. Everybody listens to jazz, right? And so
yeah.
you can imagine all of the people that listen to jazz in the mountains having a good time, great weather. Um, it's in the summer, and so these mountain towns, in the summer are just so much fun. So, definitely recommend getting up there to check out, one of these festivals.
That's awesome, man. I would love to go up to Vail or anywhere during. I've never been to Jazz Fest.
Oh man, it's
That's
such a
so
good
cool,
time.
man. Yeah, and I've heard
It
about
was
it a lot too.
it was such a good time. Great food, right? Like, I guess this is my own preconceived notion of what Winter Park is like, right? But man, like amazing food trucks. And
Yeah.
it was like I just had such a good time. Did not see that coming. And so definitely recommend getting up there.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I wanted to touch on really quick because you had mentioned there are a lot of events. That one in particular is during the summer, and I think that's the best part about it is everybody thinks mountain towns like you're all snuggled up in your cabin with the fireplace going and your flannel on. I mean, that's part of it. I think that's great. It's super fun, especially if you're active and you like to go skiing or snowshoeing or any of that. However, you go to a jazz festival during the summer, you go mountain biking. I think there was an art festival up there. I'm sure there is. They have so many art galleries. But it's not like a one time a year and it's done kind of thing. I mean, people want to be up there year round. And in my opinion, as soon as it goes from summer to winter and vice versa, when it makes that transition, it completely changes. It completely
It's
changes.
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And that's not to say that, the cool events are only it's not to say that the cool events are in the summer and then you only go up there for go up to the mountains to ski and snowboard during the winter. That's
Yeah.
not it at all. Actually, we've got really, really fun events on the shoulder seasons and in the winter too, right? So
Hmm.
X Games in Aspen. Oh man, talk about a party.
Yeah. It's a
Talk
good
about
time,
a
man.
party, man. Like, some of the best times I had, like I mentioned earlier, was X Games, but like not necessarily like, obviously I'm not partying with hanging out with like the gold medalists. I'm hanging out with the kitchen staff, the
Yeah.
resort staff, right? And those are the really, really nice guys, the guys that are super welcoming, super fun. You don't think of them as, uh being unapproachable at all. And so yeah, the winter events are super fun.
Yeah. And speaking of approachable and um, to segue onto a little story, actually, you never know who you're going to see up in the mountains. That's for sure. Because I was up in Vail and I was just sitting there. It was for an event, but I was at the bar one night with a couple of friends, and I look across the bar and I'm like, that guy looks really familiar. I can't quite put my finger on it. And I'm like, go back to my drink and I'm talking and hanging out. And next thing I know, I look up again and he's kind of getting like some guys like looking at him like, oh, who is this guy? What's going on? And they start talking and then he kind of starts to get swarmed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the guy from Criminal Minds. That taller, like curly hair guy. Yeah. So he was there. And what's funny
Now I
is
gotta Google it.
yeah. Curly hair guy. He's like the forensics guy from Criminal Minds, I believe. Um, what is his name? I can't remember. Either way, I actually ran into somebody else, but this is in Aspen. So Aspen is kind of like that upper echelon, if you will, of luxury. It is very, very expensive. I think I just heard a new statistic. Again, this is not for fact. I heard something recently that it has an insane GDP. I think it just surpassed some other city in another country. That's not very helpful. Anyways, it's super expensive, man, and there's some money to be had over there, especially in the real estate business. But Aspen is quite a bit further away. So the good thing is everything we just talked about is within a 2-hour drive of Denver. Like super easy,
Right.
super simple. It's pretty much a straight shot down I-70. Aspen is probably about I want to say 4 to 5 hours, depending on where you're at exactly. But it's a cute mountain town that is both small and big at the same time. Because when you're there, it kind of feels like you're careened in this little area, but at the same time, you start walking around and you're like, this is actually pretty big. It's hard to explain. It's hard to put into words because it's almost like it's very much so not like Breckenridge. Breckenridge feels like comfortable and approachable, and I'm going to hop out of my car and take a walk and just see where it leads me. Aspen's kind of like, okay, where am I? What am I supposed to be? I don't know. It can be a little intimidating. But again, it breeds some of those really awesome like mom and pops restaurants. Like there's this little cafe I go to up there that's amazing, and I love that place. But quick story, I was up there for Ruggerfest, which is for rugby, one year, and they've got all kinds of crazy expensive shops, right? Because Aspen attracts like international celebrities and political figures. And I happened to run into one. I was walking around with my mom and we were shopping and going through stores, just, spending time together. And we went into Lululemon and we're looking around and very similar thing. I'm just like blown off my feet. Like, whoa, did you see that? But it was just kind of casual. Like I look across the store and I'm like, wait, that lady looks kind of familiar. Next thing I know, it looks like this big dude is with her, kind of looked like very big dude, kind of looked like security guard type. And I'm like, oh. And then as soon as she walks out, right? Taller blonde lady. She walks out. We're all looking at the big dude like, yo, is that her? And he's like, no, I'm not. Like, are you with her, man? No, I'm not with her. Like, I'm pretty sure that was her. And sure enough, it was Cameron Diaz right there, like with her friend. And we're all just like, I can't really believe that just happened. And we also thought he was the security guard. So we're just like, yo, what
Yeah.
the heck is going on?
He's like,
But it's
no, man,
crazy
I'm
because
just trying to get my Lululemon on.
yeah, right. You have no idea who you're going to run into. And it's so casual too. Like just going about like,
Oh, yeah.
that's life. So
That's it. I think Vail really is like the epitome of luxury, or I'm sorry, Aspen is the epitome of luxury, right? Like it's that higher price point. The times that I've spent there, I have definitely just had like you appreciate the finer things. It definitely plays onto or hypes up the finer things. I did Aspen Fashion Week during like when I was a model,
no kidding.
and I remember, yeah, it's
Wow.
I remember some of the events were at really nice stores, right? Like not even like we're not talking about like, oh, this is at the Louis Vuitton store, like we're gonna walk. We're gonna have the fashion show, and then they're gonna have a meet and greet at the Louis Vuitton store.
Yeah.
These are stores that like you know got way more consonants than vowels, like 3 times the consonants than vowels, right? Stores that we don't even know the name, like
Yeah.
there's that
Yeah.
level of luxury that like we're not even aware of. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's like okay, so there's the stuff that they, show on TV or we see the ads for, and then there's the stuff that's so expensive they don't even advertise it to us.
Exactly. It's like I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's like where Louis Vuitton is commonplace, you know? It's like when you go down
Exactly.
Rodeo Drive in I almost said in New York, in California,
Yep.
completely
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, but that's it. That's it. It's another level of luxury. It's the finer things in life. I remember I was wearing this jacket that I remember just looking down at the price tag on it because, like, it's fashion. This fashion show, you can't take the price tag off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I sell this is 3 months rent for me.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
You know?
That just blows my mind. Um,
Oh my God. So great times, man. Great
yeah.
times.
So I
So
wanted to give a couple quick honorable mentions before we hop off here. So Evergreen is one that is closer to the front range. I'm sorry, closer to the eastern slope. Great spot. And Golden, in my opinion, is kind of like a mountain town without being in the mountains.
yeah,
But yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I think, if we're thinking about mountain towns, there's so much to love about them. They do come with some of their challenges, right? They are a little more pricey than if you're looking down in the Denver metro area. There is some challenges with resources as well. But there's so many other things that balance it out that make it worth it. The pace is it's a breath of fresh air. You get some of the best food that you can have, in unique food, some of the coolest and most unique events. And ultimately, I think it has the best people, a wide variety of people. There are, everybody from real estate agents selling luxury real estate down to, the guy who empties the trash in your hotel room.
right.
All of those people are there full time, and they all are just genuine, authentic people. So if you're thinking about it, I highly recommend getting up there and spending some time, and allowing Kyle and I to assist you in that process.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, we just did like a very shallow dive on the topic, but of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And thank you guys so much for listening in.
Absolutely. I'm Corey Martin with Bank of England Mortgage here in Denver, Colorado. If you have any questions about personal finance, or about real estate, give me a call, 720-309-6423, or you can reach out to me at Mortgage Consultant on Instagram.
Yeah. And I'm Kyle Wong with Moxie, Colorado. It's going to take me a little time to get used to that. But yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. Check us out on the channel. And this has been the Innovator, the Imitator, and the Idiot. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.